In today's world where justice often seems contingent on power, a profound tragedy unfolds, a story that demands our attention and action. On November 21, 2024, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, accusing them of crimes against humanity. This unprecedented move sends shockwaves through global politics and exposes the grim reality endured by millions of civilians in Gaza. According to the ICC's findings, both leaders stand accused of intentionally depriving Gazans of essential resources, food, clean water and medical care, basic human rights stripped away. The prosecutor's words resonate painfully. They have knowingly targeted civilians, perpetuating untold suffering among a population already reeling from years of blockades and violence. This is more than a legal accusation. It is a moral reckoning. As we gather here today, let us reflect on what it means to stand for justice in a world that too often turns away.
Why are there not more people talking about the US sanctioning ICC prosecutor Karim Khan? This is big news. On February 7, 2025, the US imposed economic and travel sanctions on Karim Khan, the International Criminal Court prosecutor. Khan, known for his tenacity in pursuing justice, now finds himself targeted due to ICC investigations into alleged US war crimes. It's the first time the US has sanctioned an ICC prosecutor, a move President Trump authorized via executive order. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are tasked with identifying individuals for further sanctions within 60 days. The ICC condemned this action, emphasizing their unwavering commitment to justice. Globally, 79 countries stand in opposition, warning such sanctions could undermine international law. Despite these challenges, Khan remains resolute, pledging to continue his vital work. This situation escalates tensions between the US and the international community, raising questions about the future of international justice. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's see where this goes next.
Yet on February 2, 2025, the world witnessed a stark contradiction to this narrative as Netanyahu arrived in the United States, greeted not with condemnation, but with diplomatic courtesy. This is the essence of hypocrisy that unfolds before our very eyes. A man under investigation for grave crimes welcomed with open arms. Spoken narration ghostwritten by John Green. Hey everyone, today we're diving into the recent visit of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Washington, D.C., a trip packed with geopolitical significance and a symbolic golden pager. So, Netanyahu's visit isn't just another diplomatic handshake. It's his second visit to the US in 7 months, reflecting the intensity of the Middle East situation. His agenda: securing support for Israel's stance, countering Iran's influence and expanding diplomatic relations with Arab countries, possibly even normalizing ties with Saudi Arabia. Ambitious? Definitely. Now let's talk about Gaza. A ceasefire agreement is currently in place, halting the war that erupted on October 7, 2023. The first phase saw Hamas releasing 33 hostages in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. But negotiations are still ongoing for the second phase, aiming to end the war and return the remaining 60 hostages. And here's the kicker: Hamas demands an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Netanyahu faces pressure from his far-right coalition partners to resume the war if these demands aren't met. High stakes, right? Enter Donald Trump. Freshly re-elected, Trump hosted Netanyahu in what is his first meeting with a foreign leader since returning to office. Trump played a significant role in brokering the current ceasefire and has pledged to end Middle Eastern wars, but his next steps? Still a bit of a mystery. Now let's get to the golden pager. Yes, you heard that right. Netanyahu gifted Trump a golden pager symbolizing a September 2024 Israeli operation against Hezbollah. This operation targeted pagers used by the group, resulting in significant casualties, including civilians. The gift? It's meant to mark a turning point in the war against Hezbollah, but also highlights the ongoing tensions and complex geopolitical dynamics in the Middle East. This visit is a stark contrast to Netanyahu's July 2024 trip, which took place during active conflict and under the Biden administration. The current visit, it signifies a renewed focus on diplomacy, leveraging Trump's support for Israel. So, what does this mean for the future? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Netanyahu's bold move with the golden pager gift has certainly set the stage for some high-stakes diplomacy. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights. See you next time. As Netanyahu stepped off the plane, thousands of vulnerable immigrants, individuals fleeing violence, poverty, and desperation, were shackled and deported, their hopes shattered. Reports indicate that over 50% of children in Gaza suffer from malnutrition, while hospitals are overwhelmed, struggling to care for the wounded amid ongoing attacks. Amidst these statistics lies a profound human story. Families torn apart, lives irreparably altered, all for political expediency. Imagine a mother in Gaza watching her children go hungry, counting the dwindling days of food supplies amid constant fear of airstrikes. Now consider the immigrant in the United States, seeking refuge and dignity, only to be met with armed soldiers and deportation. This is the duality of injustice, a tale where the deserving suffer while the powerful seem unfazed. This is gonna blow your mind. The true cost and process of mass deportation in the U.S. might shock you. The U.S. deportation process is a complex and costly operation. With recent plans for mass deportation, the use of armed forces personnel has been confirmed, raising many legal and ethical questions. Initially, deportations will target those with criminal records, national security threats, and existing removal orders. But there's potential for this to expand dramatically. The cost of deporting over 13 million undocumented immigrants is estimated at a staggering $315 billion. It would require massive increases in ICE detention capacity and new immigration courts. ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations, or ERO, is responsible for managing arrests, detentions, and removals. They use both detention and alternatives to detention to ensure compliance. The impact on countries like Mexico is substantial. Increased pressure to accept deportees and manage migrant flows is creating significant challenges. Understanding the scale and implications of these efforts is crucial. Stay informed, and let's navigate the complexities of immigration together. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth looks at pressing issues.
What I wish I knew about the haunting walk of Nazi soldiers with prisoners, and why it matters today. In the somber days of World War II, Nazi soldiers orchestrated forced marches of prisoners across Europe. These grueling treks, often called death marches, were meant to relocate prisoners as Allied forces closed in. Stripped of basic human rights, thousands endured starvation, exposure, and brutality. Many did not survive. These marches were not just a means of transportation, but a calculated method to further the Nazi regime's cruelty. Each step taken was a testament to human suffering and resilience. Understanding these events is crucial to honor the victims and ensure history's darkest moments are never repeated. Stay informed, stay aware. History's lessons are too vital to ignore.
As Netanyahu negotiates a temporary ceasefire, his intentions reveal a chilling readiness to reignite conflict. Just last fall, he emphatically stated that the deal is merely a pause, a pawnbroker of power expecting a hefty price to be paid. This kind of brinkmanship threatens to plunge a battered region back into chaos. How can one negotiate peace while keeping the tools of war so close at hand? Enter President Trump, who envisions Gaza as a Riviera of the Middle East, a troubling metaphor for displacement disguised as development. What price must the Palestinian people pay for this transformation? Trump's plans suggest relocating millions of Palestinians, thereby solidifying control over the territory with American support. This is not just a policy proposal, it's a daring humanitarian cost wrapped in a misconception of progress. To understand this present conflict, we must delve into our history. Before 1948, Palestine was home to a tapestry of cultures, where Jews, Muslims, and Christians coexisted, fostering a rich cultural heritage. This harmonious existence was shattered not by religion but by geopolitical ambitions, Zionism, which sought a singular state rather than shared spaces. As we unearth this history, we see the roots of suffering that continue to flourish today. Activists and historians alike urge us to recognize that while many Jews identify with the plight of the oppressed, Zionism takes on a different meaning. It prioritizes statehood over the narrative of those already living in the region. Their struggles are often sidelined, and the complexities of identity and faith are reduced to simplistic terms. As we engage with this issue, it is vital to distinguish between the Jewish community and Zionist political agendas. This is a nuanced conversation that requires our attention.
I bet you didn't know that Palestine before 1948 was a melting pot of cultures, languages, and traditions. Let's dive into this fascinating past. Before 1948, Palestine was a cultural crossroads where Jews, Muslims, Christians, and others lived side by side. Picture the bustling markets of Jerusalem, where merchants traded spices from Asia, textiles from Europe, and crafts from local artisans. In the cafes, intellectuals debated philosophy, art, and politics over cups of strong aromatic coffee. Schools and institutions thrived, teaching in Hebrew, Arabic, and English, reflecting the diversity of its people. The sounds of different languages filled the air, creating a symphony of voices that told the stories of countless generations. Festivals and religious celebrations added color to the landscape as communities shared their unique traditions and customs. From Ramadan to Passover, Easter to local harvest festivals, every event was a chance for people to come together and celebrate their heritage. So next time you think of Palestine, remember the rich, multicultural mosaic that existed there before 1948. A testament to the power of diversity and the beauty of shared human experiences.
Am I the only one that didn't know about the humanitarian nightmare in Gaza? Let's break the silence. Since October 2023, over 41,000 Palestinians have lost their lives due to relentless bombardment and siege. Nearly 2 million have been forcibly displaced, creating a massive humanitarian crisis. Children are bearing the brunt, with Gaza now having the highest number of child amputees per capita in the world. Hospitals are overwhelmed, running out of essentials, and many surgeries are performed without anesthesia. Food and water are scarce. Imminent famine looms, with people surviving on minimal supplies and children suffering from acute malnutrition. Water deprivation has become a weapon of war. The international community must act now. Humanitarian aid is being blocked, and those attempting to deliver it are risking their lives. Collective punishment, destruction of homes, schools, and hospitals. These are not just statistics. They are daily horrors for the people of Gaza. It's time to demand action. Speak out, support humanitarian efforts, and urge leaders to intervene. The world cannot turn a blind eye to the suffering in Gaza. Together, we can make a difference. If your heart beats for justice, then Gaza's story will break it. This is Gaza. For over a year, it has been the epicenter of a catastrophic humanitarian crisis. The conflict began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas launched a devastating surprise attack on Israel, killing around 1,200 people and taking over 250 hostages. Israel's military response ignited a war that has since torn apart countless lives. Despite 2 ceasefires, the violence and suffering have not ceased. By December 2024, Amnesty International accused Israel of genocide, highlighting systematic killings and destruction aimed at eradicating Palestinians in Gaza. The numbers are staggering. Over 42,000 Palestinians have been killed, including 13,300 children. Nearly 100,000 are injured. The war has also claimed the lives of over 400 Israeli soldiers and remains the deadliest period for journalists in decades, with 169 media workers killed. Gaza is now a land of ruins. 90% of its 2.3 million people are displaced, facing catastrophic food insecurity. 80% of buildings lie in ruins. The International Criminal Court seeks justice for the war crimes committed, but the path to peace remains uncertain. This is the unseen tragedy of Gaza. A story that demands the world's attention and action. Let's not look away. Listen to the voices of those whose lives have been touched by war and oppression. A Palestinian grandmother speaking of her grandchildren's laughter turned to fear, her eyes welled with tears as she recalls lost dreams. An Israeli peace advocate passionately arguing for coexistence, sharing how the spirit of humanity transcends borders. These are not just statistics, they are stories yearning for recognition. Across the globe, people are rising, voices united in pursuit of justice. Protests in cities from New York to London echo a shared demand: accountability for war crimes and an end to the suffering in Gaza. Activists, students, and everyday citizens stand shoulder to shoulder, launching campaigns for peace, for justice. They remind us that we can forge paths toward understanding, rather than division. Out of this suffering arises a powerful resolve. In recent years, grassroots movements have mobilized, working tirelessly to build bridges and promote shared narratives. Organizations dedicated to humanitarian aid aim to bring relief to war-torn regions, and peace organizations advocate for political solutions that prioritize dialogue over conflict. Let's also turn our gaze to the international arena. Nations around the world wrestle with their roles in this crisis. Some call for sanctions, others offer support to the oppressor, a reflection of divided perspectives influenced by historical alliances. But as global citizens, we must ask ourselves, what legacy do we want our countries to uphold? Are we prepared to stand by and witness injustice? Or will we advocate for a just resolution? Now it's time to look inward. In our own communities, how do we perceive these issues? What action can we take? Educating ourselves and others about the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is paramount. Empathy fuels understanding. By amplifying the stories of those affected, we invite change. We are at a crucial juncture. History has taught us that peace cannot be achieved through violence, nor can it be enforced through silence. When voices that seek justice rise up, they carry the potential to reshape the future, a future grounded in compassion, respect, and shared humanity. Together, we can champion a renewed dialogue that prioritizes human rights for all, transcending borders and ideologies. Join us in demanding accountability and compassion from our leaders, urging them to embrace policies that uplift suffering populations rather than exacerbate conflict. Be the changemaker in your community and beyond. Speak out against injustice, advocate for peace, and foster an understanding that this struggle is fundamentally human. Let us honor the memories of those lost and commit to a world where such tragedies are not just chapters in history, but lessons guiding us toward better tomorrows. Together, we can build a movement rooted in love, justice, and the steadfast belief that every life matters. Stand with us, take part in the conversation. #Justice for Gaza, #Power of Unity, #Voices for Peace.